And I looked up, and he turned towards me with the gun. He's like, I told you, get on the fucking ground. And when he did that, I raised up and shot him. And I had an M&P shield. It was a single stacked 8+1. And I had a spare magazine and a flashlight in my pocket. I get 7 rounds on him. Oof. And I don't know exactly how many rounds the other guy took, but we do know now. They were just arrested a few weeks ago. They ended up catching all the bad guys that was involved.
Just a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Dick. Appreciate you.
Recently, I've been trying to start each episode with a quote that maybe might bring about some ideas or thoughts. And the quote, I found it through like a guy on Instagram who is into like the everyday carry and the self-defense. And the quote goes, performance parallels preparation.
Who said that? What's the guy's name?
The name escapes me, but he's a guy that has like timed things with the knife on the wall that you can hit with the wall, and it tells you how fast you're hitting the wall. So he'll go like from under the waistband to hit a target on the wall with a knife, and it'll tell you like how fast you actually did it. Like that's his thing on social media.
Oh, that's dope.
But yeah, I mean, any thoughts come to mind with that?
Not
Performance parallels preparation.
I mean,
like how prepped, or like how much of a priority is preparation to you?
Very important. I'm a huge preparedness type guy. Multiple guns. I'm big into training, firearms training. So I decided to start a outdoor shooting range, training facility in Tennessee. So I would say out of those 3 topics, I'll probably say preparation would probably be my number one.
And in what sense? Because recently there were heavy snowstorms in New York, right, where people got stuck in their cars, and some even died because they even couldn't get home. So preparation in the sense of self-defense, but water and food and supplies, like things within a bag or a car. Does that kind of ring true with you as well?
It depends on the environment. Here in Chicago, I prepare and I prep for Chicago. When I'm in Tennessee, I prep and prepare for Tennessee. Right. I don't think you can necessarily prep for New York or any other place. It generally,
right? You can't. It's.
I don't think. Yeah, it's kind of tough. I would say here it's more of just a self-defense. Concealed carry. Having the proper light. Gun. Ammunition. We have really strict gun laws here, so making sure we're compliant with.
Which I did not know Illinois. CCW was just made legal in 2013. I had no idea.
It's crazy. Graduated high school in 2012, so it was right after that, and I couldn't even own a gun because I was still too young, at least a handgun. Okay. But yeah, I would say it depends on the environment. So for here, Chicago,
that makes sense.
It's more of a self-defense. Being aware of your surroundings, watching, looking, left and right. Even when you're with a spouse, children. Just being alert, being aware, make sure you have the proper tools, because a gun doesn't solve every single issue. So, may not necessarily need a gun. Like I carry a flashlight every day. I love that, and that actually, I use that more than anything. Tourniquets, things
more
like
than a
that.
Knife.
Yeah,
just like box cutters and stuff like that.
Yeah, knives too. I would say a knife. I've never been a big knife guy, but I do have a knife. I got a Microtech.
Okay, I haven't heard of that. Yeah, I'm starting. I'm just starting that rabbit hole. So
the Microtech, they make really, really good knives. Shout out to my boy Dave over there. He makes some really, really good knives.
So Mike, I brought you on to retell and share some of your experiences of navigating a self-defense incident. But to give context to the listeners, I'd love to have them kind of understand your background and where you came from, and your experiences with firearms in general. So kind of just, I know you've shared it on multiple podcasts, but if you were to just quickly retell kind of like your intro or segue into firearms.
Sure. Well, my name is Mychael Waller, Senior, owner of MJ's Firearms out of Richland Park, Illinois. Also the owner of Protect One. It's an outdoor shooting range in Tennessee.
What's the name of the range?
Protect One.
Protect One.
Yeah, Protect One. It's in Knoxville, Tennessee is the closest city, but technically it's called Sneed. It's in Sneedville. But Tennessee, firearms instructor, father of 3, uncle, brother, family man. That's me. I'm just a jack of all trades. I do a lot of different things. So, I mean, that's just me.
Yeah. But like, what was your segue into firearms? Like, who or what got you into it?
Okay, good. My son. So my business is MJ's Firearms.
Right.
MJ is Mychael Jr.
Okay.
I named my business after my son. So when my son was born, he encouraged me to get a gun.
Now, what does that mean? He encouraged at what age?
He was a newborn.
Or the fact that you had someone to protect, right?
I felt like I had someone I needed to protect.
Okay.
The moment he was born, my life changed completely.
Okay.
I'm really, really attached to him. Best friend. I'm attached to all three
But
of my guns,
why firearms and not self-defense in any other way?
I would say the environment. Again, you got to blend in with your environment. You got to kind of adapt to your environment. I was living in Plano, Illinois. That is a like country part of Illinois. It's like really, really, it's really conservative. It's a, pro-gun area in, state of Illinois. Looking around, I can just tell I'm an African-American male in this area where it's predominantly white. There are a lot of pro-gun stickers, NRA, things like that. And I'm having a son, and this is like in the hype of all these, police shootings, things like that, and being an African-American male and not legally owning a gun, I feel like is irresponsible. Especially if you have a child. If you are a brown-skinned person, which me and you both are, and you can legally obtain a firearm, you should. And if you don't, that is irresponsible, I feel like, personally.
And then what got you, like, what was your first experience with class and training and things like that?
Okay, so, I will start with purchasing the gun, because that one gun kind of led me into my whole journey.
Ironically, it was a rifle.
Yes. So
isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. But Illinois, so I walked into a local gun store. They literally just built it. It was called Arcade Gun Gallery. It's in Plano, Illinois. It was literally down the street from my mother's house I was staying in. I was a broke college student. I was going to Ubon's Community College at the time, studying criminal justice and fitness leadership. But ended up, my son was born. Like, I found out that I was, my son was going to be, I found out I was having a child, like my first semester even in college. It was really, really fast. It was not expecting, but it happened. I thank God, because he changed my life. And the moment he was born, decided to go to that gun store, RKA, walked in. I was like, well, looking at the cabinets, and I see all these different type of guns. I am completely new to this. I don't know anything about it. I grew up in a household that wasn't anti-gun, but we weren't pro-gun. Kind of like most African-American. I'll say most, not like most African-American households.
Or just people in general, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say most people are just anti-gun, or?
I wouldn't say most people are anti-gun. I'm actually just pertaining to like African-American people at this time. Most are not necessarily really pro-gun. But my family wasn't anti-gun. I have a lot of law enforcement and military in my family. My mom's father, my grandfather was a cop too for CPD. So guns were okay. But they weren't like, we weren't big pro-gun. But went to the range, and I'm looking in there, and I'm like, all right, well, I want to purchase a gun. I got a son on the way. I saw these handguns inside the cabinet, and I'll never forget the guy's name. His name was Scott. Scott, he kind of helped walk me through this whole little journey. It's the first person to kind of take my hand. I was like, look, this is what you got to do, this and that. And I'm like, all right, well, cool. Walked in. I was like, well, I just got my tax return. So I'm like, hey, I want to purchase this car, 9mm, K-A-H-R. So car with a K. I was going to purchase this car, 9mm, and he told me I couldn't buy it because I didn't have a gun card. And I was completely confused. I was like, what is a gun card? And he was like, well, you got to fill out this application. And I'm like, well, okay. And he was like, you look like you're under the age of 21. I'm like, yeah, I'm like 19. I think 19 years old. He's like, well, now you got to have your parent come down here and sign for you. And I was like, well, okay. And that was not going to be easy, because my dad, he grew up in a very actually pro-gun household. My grandfather had a lot of, weapons and things like that. He was used to it, but my dad's kind of like not into guns at all, to be honest with you. My mom is honestly the person who's a gun person. But me and my mom's really like we really close, and I'm her only birth son, so she's really attached to me. So I knew me asking my mom, hey, can you sign this paper giving consent for me to own a firearm was gonna be a serious conversation. And I was kind of spoiled, so I got her to sign. She came down.
How long was that conversation?
Ooh, it took a few days for me to kind of really wing her into it, but she ended up agreeing.
She understood, huh?
Yeah, she understood. She was, but it came with rules too. She was like, if you're gonna purchase a gun, you're gonna do this. I want you to get firearms training and proper training, like behind it. Don't just purchase the gun. Go take a class. So I do everything in 3. So she said 3 classes. You take 3 classes. As far as just a basic firearms class, firearm safety, things like that. And I was like, all right, well, cool. I'm not, opposed to it.
Yeah,
it's only going to benefit me, so I'll learn something from it. And that's the type of person I am. So I was like, okay, cool. She signed the form. It took about 3 to 4 weeks for your FOI card in the state of Illinois to come back in the mail at this time. This was 2013, 2014. So I was like waiting every single day. Yeah, it felt like forever because I'm just excited. I'm like I want to purchase this gun. I got this money. It's blowing, it's like burning a hole in my pocket. I'm like, man, I want to purchase a gun.
What a great problem to have.
My son, I'm like, man, I want to protect him. That was like my reasoning behind it. And I was like, as soon as it came in, finally, I raced up to the gun store and I was like, all right, well, yeah, I want to purchase this car. He was like, cool. He pulled it out the cabinet. I was filling out the form. It's a 4473 form whenever you're purchasing a handgun or a long gun. At least one. I started filling the form out, and he was like, all right, well, let me get your FOI card, driver's license. I handed him my FOI card and driver's license, and he stopped me. He was like, there's an issue.